do that. I'm just saying maybe they should think, you know, we have Esper.
I know.
And you know what, part of it, think of renames for those.
Yeah, and part of it was that they learned a valuable lesson when they did the invasion wedges, not realizing that they needed names that would, you know, like they accidentally stumbled upon, you know, like Rakdos and Boros, for instance. People really like Boros. It's easy. Whereas Celestia never really caught on as much.
Yeah.
And so when they actually did the shards, like Grixis and Jund and whatnot, they were careful to actually choose words that they knew people would be able to repeat and use easily and wouldn't be like tongue twisters.
Like short, like 2-syllable words, basically.
Yep. 1 or 2 syllables.
Yeah. That makes sense, actually.
Yeah. So I imagine that when the wedge block eventually comes...
Oh, and it's coming.
Eventually. They're going to have new names that are... And I hope they keep Raka. They're going to have new names that are 1 or 2 syllables and actually catchy. Raka.
Rock on.
Michael Hetrick playing Blue, White, Red Delver. Delver, that's not even true. He's playing Blue, White, Red Miracles.
No one would play Blue, White, Red Delver.
Well...
That's not close to true either.
I was going to say, I think they would. I need a miracle.
As we see a polluted Delta from Hetrick passing the turn. Looks like both players kept their 7 as well.
Yeah, and speaking of miracles, it's really important to, if you haven't seen it already, take a look for Luis Scott Vargas and Brian Kilboyer at the Players' Championship getting bonfire, or the World Cup getting bonfired right out by a miracle.
Nothing like bringing up just some little salt in the wound there.
No, it's just a really important part of our culture that people should make sure that they think about again.
And again.
So and polluted again. Delta from Michael Hetrick. He's using the polluted deltas without any black mana. Is polluted delta the best one for misdirection? I mean, people respect a polluted delta. You could be killing them in the first turn with some kind of storm deck, right?
Yeah. I think it is relatively good for misdirection. We're going to see a brainstorm here in response to the Sensei's Divining Top. Hetrick, as you can see, doing a nice job of playing around days. And we're going to see that polluted delta get cracked, pushing him down to 19.
What's interesting is that if Hetrick tried to spell pierce the brainstorm, Benjamin could daze the top.
Yeah. As we are going to see that possible interaction take place. So that one resolves, and there's no days here, so everything works out fine for Hetrick.
Everything's just turning up Michael.
Yeah.
I guess I should say ship it.
If you will.
Benjamin looking at a grip full of, let's see, there's Ponder, Thought Scour. What's the blue card third from the left?
In his hand is a Fire Ice, two different copies of Ponder. He has the old one and the new one.
Yep.
Thought Scour, Tarmogoyf, and a Spell Snare.
Yeah, so are we going to see a Tarmogoyf?
I feel like that's what we're going to see here. Looks like it's going to go to Tropical Island. Put the old boy into play. See if he can potentially ride it to victory, or at least get some points of damage in it.
Tarmogoyf. Oh, there it is.
There's the
infamous, barely legal prop for the coverage.
Just as legal as the Horseman.
No, it's actually, I guess they're both controversial, so I guess there's that.
Controversy creates cash. Do you know that?
Dude, I don't know anything about making money. What I do know is that Michael Hetrick is tanking on his third land drop.
And we're going to see a Volcanic Island. Let's see if we're going to see a counterbalance. Yep. Oh. So he is looking to assemble the soft lock here.
Yeah, and as far as soft locks go, this one's pretty hard.
Yeah. So now he basically just needs to float some 1s and some 2s, make sure that he hits some land drops, and then take care of that Tarmogoyf.
Or alternatively, Benjamin just needs to win without playing any spells that cost 1 or 2.
Another option.
Dude, why doesn't Benjamin just play like Vexing Shusher? Any 2 land in his deck casts it, and it makes all his spells uncounterable. Seems sweet.
So we're going to see a Ponder here. I mean, you want to play that in the main deck, or where would you like to put those Vexing Shushers?
I don't know, in the side where like every other person who has ever played Vexing Shusher?
I've played them in the main before, so I take great offense.
Alright.
So we see a Sensei's Divine Top activation.
And how do you cast it with your planes and your Kithkin? So Ponder...
Ever heard of Windbrisk Heights?
Looks like Ponder is going to be countered by a top, right?
I think the reason that Benjamin cast this, I think he wants a sorcery in the graveyard, making
Did he
it
draw a
3/4.
card? Judge, did he actually draw a card? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, it's legal for him not to, too, if he wants. Whatever floats his boat. But he did, in fact, draw the card.
So Tarmogoyf's going to come for 3, and I think the reason that he cast that Ponder actually was with the sole intention of getting it countered, just that Tarmogoyf would become larger. Now, of course, he would like for it to resolve, but I think he knew it was going to get countered.
Yeah.
As Hetrick does draw top for the turn. And... Thought Scour. Huh. Okay.
Yeah, because he can't.
Yeah,
Thought
he
Scour
couldn't
with the
Thought Scour
top
before, yeah. I'm interested to see who he's targeting with this. If he's targeting himself or Hetrick.
The nice thing about hitting himself is it makes his Mongoose better, but he's not. It's never going to come to that with the counterbalance top combo. So maybe you just hit Hetrick for the better chance of hitting like a Jace or another counterbalance.
Just to make the Tarmogoyf bigger. Yeah.
Plus a slight card advantage. Zing.
Hetrick considering his options. We're going to see a Brainstorm. Counterbalance is still on the stack.
It's the Brainstorm, giving Michael a even more options for how to make sure that this game is completely locked up. And the counterbalance combo, counterbalance top, is just so good against the Rogue Delver deck.
Yeah, it's incredible in this matchup. And does he have any Crows and Grips in his sideboard? Just looking ahead briefly. No.
He has one Naturalize, but that's not nearly as effective as a Crossing Grip in this scenario. I think your prediction of Blue-White-Red Miracles is going to come to fruition, because I think this is just... I mean, this just on paper looks like exactly the matchup that Michael Hetrick must have been planning for when he selected this deck for this tournament.
We've still got a little while to go. I mean, plenty of game to be played. I mean, if he doesn't,
and more games to be played.
If he doesn't answer a Tarmogoyf, I mean, 3/4 isn't the biggest Tarmogoyf we've ever seen, but it can get the job done.
Seen bigger.
As we
I'm telling you though, Shipahawa is one of the premier online metagamers.
I see another attempt at a Ponder, even though he does know that that's there. And getting a counter doesn't do very much.
So you didn't know for sure that the one was on top, though, because it was a Brainstorm, but...
No, but he revealed the top to counter the Thought Scour.
Then it was probably a loose Ponder on Benjamin's part, but it's been a long day.
So we're going to see a Flooded Strand here, and now we're going to see the Sensei's Divining Top hit play. Now we're going to see a Fire Ice, one half of the card. He could just be going upstairs with Fire. It doesn't look like he's going to be tapping
reduce
anything.
The clock by a turn.
Yeah. I believe this is in response to Sensei's Divining Top.
Yeah, because he doesn't want the top to be able to help counter the Fire.
Alright, both players move it back to Benjamin. He's going to draw a card. As Hetrick hand is actual 3 Force of Wills. He just needs to find 1 Swords of Plowshares.
Or a Terminus.
Yeah, that'll also do. Just any removal spell to hear this Tarmogoyf, and he's going to be okay. Because we're going to see a top activation here.
And there's a lot. Ooh,
there's an Entreat the Angels too.
Now the thing is, if he entreats, it's going to cost him a lot of mana, right? Like he's going to have to spend at least 4 mana.
Yeah.
If he spends 4 mana, it leaves counterbalance top still. But if Benjamin has any Force of Will action or anything, he's got to point it at that entreat. So even though this position looks fantastic for Michael, the burden is on him to deal with the one last problem, Tarmogoyf. Which could kill him in 2 or 3 turns.
So Hetrick is going to reset things the way that he wants them. He's still taking a few blows, and we are going to see the Entreat the Angels now.
Says, you know what, let's go for it. It looks like he's got a Force of Will and a blue card in his hand.
No. Looks like he's going to be able to create, as we're going to see him move some number of fetch lands around to be able to cast this, either for 2 or 3, undecided at this point.
Yeah. I would be surprised if it was for 3. He wants to be able to use the top or pay for a daze.
Yeah.
Hetrick having to be very careful there, knowing that if Benjamin casts a 1-drop in response, then if he tried to put the top on top, you get shuffled away.
Yeah. Hetrick really considering what the function. Okay, he's just going to move. It looks like he's going to move.
Well, it's smart now. He wants to move his fetch lands. Even if he's not going to spend all his mana, he wants to move his fetch lands to the graveyard so that he doesn't get stuck with the same interaction the next time, you know?
And that sacking of the Flood Strand is going to put him down to 6, so he is, in theory, in range of double Lightning Bolt, but again, with the counterbalance and Senses Divine top in play, that's not a realistic out. We're just going to do just for 2. Again, to keep the Sensei's Divine top available.
Man, that's a tough grip. A couple of spell snares not really going to get the job done.
Yeah. We're going to see a spinning at the top on the end step.
It's almost over now. Game 1 anyway.
Yeah, I think he's just looking, at this point I feel like he's just looking for his swords. To just be able to kill that Tarmogoyf and just get in with those, with the Angel tokens, and just get the game over with.
Mm-hmm. Because it's a little risky to play the... See, even this play, this is a little risky, because if Benjamin plays a Nimble Mongoose, doesn't it just get, or a Delver, doesn't it just get countered in the Tarmogoyf Grow?
It becomes a 4/5. And he's able to fade that as we see a top. Then again, you know, there isn't anything to say that Hetrick wouldn't just let it resolve.
Yeah.
So Tarmogoyf does just stay at 3/4. It's not a lock to counter it.
Correct.
As we see a Vendilion click here from Hetrick.
Another nail in the coffin. Now
Amazing.
Michael Hetrick's going to get a chance to see what Benjamin's working with.
And he's decided, no, you're not seeing my hand.
Alright.
So Michael Hetrick up a game with his blue-white-red Miracles deck against Benjamin Brueseke and his Rogue Delver deck.
So Benjamin's going to be bringing in 2 Pyroblasts and probably... Oh, hold on, before we get to the sideboarding, the final trivia of the weekend. Is this for the whole year?
This is for the whole year, the whole
kit and
shebang.
caboodle. I like it. 1 year of SCG Premium. Trivia question.
Make it tough.
You want me actually hard?
No, because I know you know too much about Magic that you'll actually make it hard. I've played 20 questions with you on Magic cards. It's impossible.
Alright, so I'm thinking of a red enchantment from Alpha. No. Alright, the question is, what is the name of the red, white, blue wedge that we were discussing today? At some point today, we were discussing the red, white, blue wedge.
There's a Volver.
That's true. There's a Volver.
There's a Sanctuary.
Yeah, I think there's a variety of them. There's even like a Disciple.
There's a Battle Mage too. That's all I know.
So, if you want, you can, and I highly recommend you do, tweet at us. We're at SCG Live. Use the hashtag SCG Premium. Let us know the answer of the wedge. That is the popular name for the red, white, blue color combination. Outside of the people who use, you know, the word American to describe everything that is those 3 colors.
American Delver.
And if you do, you can win a year of premium, which that's good stuff.
There's no Battle Mage.
There's what?
There's no Battle Mage.
Of course there's not.
It's late. I was young then. Glenn, stop correcting me about the matchup at hand.
Alright. Everybody tweet at Glenn and let him know that you want a free year of premium for... No, just kidding. That's not even close to a possibility. But you can get 1 year if you get the wedge correct. that is the popular name for the red, white, blue color combination outside of the people who use the term American to describe that color combination.
Indeed. So looking at the matchup, sideboards are on the screen for you guys. Benjamin is going to be playing first this game, so let's see exactly what he's going to be able to do to kind of get things back in order. 2 Pyroblasts is definitely a good step in the right direction. Naturalize is a way to fight Counterbalance, but again, it's not really the best way to go about fighting it.
He still needs to be able to interact too with things like O-ring, shackles, and once in a while you might even be able to naturalize a Sensei's Divining Top in order to stop it from going back on top.
And then other than that, I mean, I see an Ancient Grudge, which again is not the best way to interact with Sensei's Divining Top, even though there is a Shackles. And then Scavenging Ooze, which would provide an additional body, but it's not something that Hetrick isn't able to take care of. So there's nothing here, as you guys see the sideboard on the screen, that jumps out at you and just says, hey, this is for this matchup, like a card like Submerge does.
What do you think about Surgical? If you have Surgical Extraction, I mean, first of all, obviously you can counter a Snapcaster Mage sometimes, but Surgical Extraction is actually not always the worst way to mess up a counterbalance. It's not as good as Extirpate was for that job, but if you Surgical, you can, you know, provide a nice little shuffle if you're not full on locked, or if the top is getting, you know, like if the top is on top of the deck, or is going to go on top of the deck, you can respond by Surgicaling and at least interacting.
And break some things up that way.
Might just be better, though, to stay with the library manipulation, threats, and counter magic. One thing for sure, though, I think that he needs to cut way down on the burn.
Yeah, I see Fork Bolt and Fire Ice leaving.
I don't even mind Fire Ice that much, because you might split it between a Snapcaster and a Click or whatever, and it cycles, and it can tap mana, or it can tap the top. But I think the 4 bolts and the Forked Bolt are not long for this match.
I wouldn't be surprised to see him leave Lightning Bolt in just as a little bit of reach. I mean, there is more permission that can be had, but I mean, I can see an argument for both sides.
Absolutely. I think it's just a question of how he wants to play it. One thing that is for sure, though, is that he's going to want to play it on the play. He's going to want to go first and to try to get out a board that puts enough pressure on Michael to force him to try to make something happen before his mana gets developed. Because if the game goes long, Hetrick's endgame is significantly better.
Way better. The game cannot afford to go long for Benjamin in order for him to win it. It just can't happen. And it looks like Benjamin is going to keep his 7 and Hetrick is going to take a trip to Perry. But he is playing a deck that does mulligan relatively well with Sensei's Divining Top and Brainstorms in it. He can afford to take 1, potentially 2 mulligans and still be okay. A lot of cards that can catch him up. So I see the gears working over there. Next Legacy tournament, maybe a little Blue-White Miracles for you?
I'm playing Hybrid Genesis.
Okay. Alright.
Although I kind of want to just play Mesmeric or Basil Monolith. I wish a judge would try to give me a warning for slow play. Are you kidding me? Please. I would love it. I would love to see them try.
Challenge accepted. I'm sure there's a Legacy GP coming up soon. We hope to see you with it as we see a Misty Rainforest to start the show here for Benjamin. We'll see a Volcanic Island and for his sake, Delver Secrets, but again, he's gonna have to get this game over with quickly, as we're going to see a table shuffle.
Classic table shuffle.
Unorthodox.
Time to table shuffle. No, I mean, that's fair. Table shuffle has been called.
Yeah. Checking the clock, it is only 11:10 p.m. No one has anywhere to go or anything to do.
Now, to be fair, they're only 17 minutes in. I mean, for a Miracles matchup with Counterbalance, they're keeping it moving.
Oh.
I hope he pile shuffles after every fetch land.
I do too now.
Stick it to the man.
Yeah, just really try to get in that. Try to get in Hetrick's head.
Dude, absolutely. Because, you know, resolving your Narcomoeba combo, for sure, is much, much, much slower than pile shuffling after every fetch land.
As we see a Grim Lavamancer there from Benjamin.
Grim Lavamancer, a very modest Jackal Pup.
You thought he was going to board burn out. Looks like he boarded some in.
No, dude, that's a guy. Boarding out Lightning Bolt for Grim Lavamancer seems like a massive upgrade.
Yeah?
Lightning Bolt seems like some cold garbage.
Cold mashed potatoes.
No, dude,
As it
cold
were.
mashed potatoes is more like a personality trait. So, basic plans for Michael Hetrick. Wanting to make sure that his mana stays unwasted. Drops the top.
Yeah, we're gonna go fight over this right now. Force of Will. You're going to show us a blue card. Alright, there's a Brainstorm.
Oof.
Interesting that he chose Brainstorm instead of Thought Scour.
Well, he wants to fuel his Grim Lavamancer.
Okay.
I respect that. He doesn't really have any bad cards to put back anyway, so Brainstorm's not even really a thing. So Michael Hetrick successfully resolves him to Turok. From Lavamancer. Enters the red zone.
More of a wrench mind.
Yeah?
Didn't really feel random.
I think it was much better than a wrench mind. A wrench mind would not have hit the Force of Will and the Brainstorm. That is for darn sure. That was a him to Turok.
Alright.
It was like a Vapor Snag among him to Turoks. Because it did the 1 damage also.
How about a Gerard's Verdict? How about Compromise?
No.
No? Okay.
Not really into
No.
compromise.
No. No compromise?
No, uncompromising in my principles.
So we see a Scalding Tarn and pass back from Benjamin over to Hetrick. Let's see if he needed that Sensei's Divine Top very badly or if he's still okay. As we see just a Flooded Strand. And drawing his card for the turn, we're going to see a Scalding Tarn bite the dust.
Getting a tropical island.
And there is the Trop. Well, let's see what he's going to play this turn. Wasn't sure that I saw a Tarmogoyf in his hand.
Yeah. Not sure he has one. But it looks like he's got, is that a green card and 2 blue ones and a Wasteland?
Maybe that's a Scavenging Ooze. He's going to play his Wasteland.
It is a Scavenging Ooze.
Okay. See where Hetrick stands on this card.
Not a great card in this matchup, but another card better than Lightning Bolt. Grim Lavamancer, Scavenging Ooze, Tropical Island, Volcanic Island, Wasteland, up against Basic Plains, and Exotic Basic Plains, with Basic Plains and Flooded Strand. From Michael Hetrick and his blue, white, red Miracle deck.
And now we're going to see a Swords of Plowshares from Hetrick.
Yep. Decided to hit the Scavenging Ooze, which is potentially a slightly larger threat than the Grim Lavamancer.
Yep. And that does get it done. It's going to gain Benjamin 2 life, but...
When Hetrick wins, though, he's going to win big, and the 2 life is not really going to be the make or break point, most likely. It's interesting, Hetrick does have a Trinket Mage in his hand, and so that Grim Lavamancer is actually going to be a little annoying.
As we're going to see a Grim Lavamancer activation here. Shooting Hetrick for 2, putting him down to 17. It looks like we're going to see a Thought Scour finally. 2 cards, a Force One Tarmogoyf being pushed to the graveyard. Wasteland attempting to take care of the Tundra, and it does. And then we'll see a Misty Rainforest. Spell Pierce in Benjamin's hands, along with a mystery card and just the solo Grim Lavamancer.
So I mean, this Grim Lavamancer, certainly not bad, but not putting Hetrick on the shortest clock.
He can't do him by himself.
Hetrick still doesn't really have a lot going on yet, though. Just trying to develop his mana base.
So we're going to see Thought Scour and Wasteland removed for the Grim Lavamancer activation.
What is Hetrick trying to put together here? Jace? Sensei's Divine Top, maybe?
Yeah, just anything to really get the manipulation of his library going. I mean, at this point, the only threat he needs to take care of is the Green Lavamancer. And again, he's not underneath a terrible amount of pressure, so he can't afford to take his time developing, as we see another Lavamancer activation here from Brueseke.
Carefully selecting the right cards to maximize the probability that relevant ones are in the graveyard in case he has to Tarmogoyf next turn.
Which he does draw.
Wow, interesting. But they was playing smart.
Let's see if he's able to get this to slide in. Tarmogoyf on the stack. Does Hetrick have an answer?
Yes. Does he want to use it? I think he does.
Yes, he forcible, and he's going to remove
Spell Pierce.
Spell Pierce to that. Spell Pierce is as close to dead as it's going to get in this matchup for Hetrick. 4 lands from Rogue Delver. Most of its spells cost 1 and 2 mana. Paying for Pierce is not going to be tough for Brueseke at this point.
No.
Hetrick very deliberately draws his card. There's a Sensei's Divining Top.
That's the one he was looking for.
We're going to see it. Okay.
He is going to make him taste it.
No,
he's not. Can't decide if want to make you taste it.
And taste given. This is going to move Hetrick down to 10, and with 2 Flutterchurns on the board, potentially at 8 life at this point.
Yeah, I think what he had to debate was whether or not it was worth cracking the Misty first to keep it away from the graveyard, with the option to be able to shuffle after a Brainstorm is worth enough to him to take a different line.
We see a Sensei's Divining Top activation here from Hetrick. Alright.
Hetrick untapping.
Untap, draw. We see an island and just another go. Interesting. I mean, there must be something there that he cares about, because I think if he hated the 3 cards on top, he would sacrifice one of those Flooded Strands. So he must be happy about something that's there.
Or he was just developing his mana a little bit. You know? Bold. Exiling the last of his cards, with no remaining shots left for the Grim Lavamancer or Trinket Mage. I mean, for the Vendilion Clique or Trinket Mage. And there is the Vendilion Clique. This is a hand that is not very good against Vendilion Clique.
No.
2 Spell Snares, a Spell Pierce, and a Delver of Secrets. Do you take the Delver here, or just let him have it?
I don't have a good look at Hetrick's hand, nor do we know the top of his library for the Sensei's Divining Top, but my gut tells me that it's okay if that's there.
Like, who cares about a Delver of Secrets, right? Then again, I mean, if something goes wrong and the Vendilion Clique gets, you know, colded next turn, the Delver increases the clock. I mean, we're talking about potentially a 2-turn clock instead of a 7 or 8 turn, like a 6 to 8 turn. Still, there are a lot of cards better than Delver of Secrets in Benjamin's deck.
For sure. He does have some very live draws here.
So he decides to let him keep it. He'd rather play against the villain he knows than the villain he doesn't. Lavamancer with no fear whatsoever. I think if you're Hetrick, you've got to snap block here, right?
And take the risk of Delver coming to play flipping and bidding down for 3?
I think so. Like, you're going to search. I mean, I guess you get to look first.
I'm just going to knock Hetrick down to 7.
So, Vendilion Clique Still deciding whether or not to get busy in the red zone.
Yep.
Michael Hetrick fetching up another beautiful Tundra.
Gorgeous.
Topping, looking for all sorts of things. Terminus, plow.
There's information.
Yeah.
See how he wants to set up the next couple of turns.
Oh.
We see an entreat. We see an entreat. It looks to be an entreat, a terminus, and a volcanic island.
Oh, so just the actual nut perfects.
The Boutros.
So what's the sequence we're going to see of this? Are we going to see the... I mean, for sure Vendalion Click's going to block just to prevent the damage, right? Do you put the terminus on top to hit the Delver? Or do you put the land first to set up the entreat? Either way, you want all that noise.
Yeah. Yeah, he's going to take the block. I think he's just going to set up for the terminus now.
Yeah.
I think it's terminus first, take care of that.
Yeah.
Be able to pay for spell pierce, and then... Oh, okay, he's just going to go with entreat. He knows he has spell pierce. Oh, okay. I see what he's doing here. Hetrick has a red elemental blast in his hand.
Does.
Or a pyroblast.
There it is. So, the entreat for 2, probably good enough. I mean, it's not ironclad by any means, but an entreat for 2 is going to be extremely difficult for this Rogue Delver deck to make any progress on.
Now, do you like that sequencing with the 3 cards, the options using the pyroblast?
Yeah, I mean, if he can't lose, I mean, he can't really lose to this, right? Like, I don't know. I think this is a good play.
And also, him cracking that was able, by being able to get the volcanic island, resets the top as well. So some more new cards coming, possibly find a swords, counterbalance, all that good stuff.
A lot of good cards still. Top of the deck looks like a white reactive card, another red blast, and a land.
Try a card. Are safe to get in with at least 1 angel, so that's going to knock Benjamin down to 14. And we're going to see an Arid Mesa Pass being able to reset his top again.
Yeah, it's incredible how Sensei's Divine Top can turn all your extra fetch lands into pseudo preordains.
Yep. Let's see a top activation here. I believe one of those cards is a counterbalance, but not positive.
No. There's no way you can shuffle that away.
Yeah. Alright, so Mesa's going to knock Hetrick down to 5.
Probably like a spell pierce or something. Finds the other volcanic just in case a wasteland shows up.
So there's a Brainstorm on top, along with at least 1 fetch land, possibly 2.
Top, take a look. I don't know what that 3rd card down is.
Counterbalance.
The walls are closing in around Benjamin.
They are. Now keep in mind, the counterbalance actually isn't that great in this position, just because Benjamin does have 2 spell snares in his hand.
Oh, that's true. That's a very good point. Still, walls are closing in.
They are closing in. I mean, things are ticking away quickly as we see a Ponder here from Benjamin. Finally, some sort of action. But the things that he can draw that are important are incredibly limited. So we're going to see a Thought Scour, clearing away these 2, drawing him a new card. What looks to be, he's tapping out, looks to be for Tarmogoyf? Yes.
I mean, that'll play. Really, is that bigger than an angel?
I believe so.
Creatures, instants, lands.
I think we're going to see a Brainstorm in response here from Hetrick. Spinning in top, you can see the 3rd card, which is a Pyroblast. Has to be careful. I believe that Goyf is a 4/5 right now.
Sorcery creature. instant land.
And I'm wrong, as usual. 5/6.
Is there an artifact, a planeswalker, or an enchantment in the graveyard? Two angels on tap. Or one of them does, the other was already on D. Top, continuing to look.
Yep.
Hetrick's turn 1 top was in fact Force of Wills, contributing to the 5th point of power from the Tarmogoyf. Hetrick in a pretty good spot for sure, but that Goyf is big enough that he still has to finish the job here.
Yeah, that ghost is of relevant size, and because Benjamin isn't at 8, he can't threaten an attack with both angels, or because he has one of those cards as a power blast, he couldn't fire away to kill the Insectile Aberration and hit him for lethal, so he does have to still balance things here.
He can't even attack, he can't attack at all, right? Like, unless he has something else.
As we do see a counterbalance here.
Interesting. Drawing out the Spell Snare. Is this more like I want you to take 1 more damage?
I think that has
It shuts
something
off-
to do with it.
he doesn't have 2 cards anyway, so he can't Force a Will. Or maybe he has 2 cards. Does he have exactly just 2 Spell Snares?
His hand is Spell Snare, Spell Pierce.
Yeah. So this actually shuts off Spell Pierce,
Yes.
which is kind of exciting.
There's a Spell Snare. There's the
Interesting.
blast.
Uses the Red Blast on the Spell Snare while Benjamin is bottlenecked on mana. He's going to have to play very defensive here. Now it's interesting. If Benjamin attacks with both creatures,
Beat me to it.
Hetrick can block the Goyf with both, trading an angel for a Goyf but taking 3 damage, or he can block each, eat the Delver, but chump the Goyf. Which is probably not a good way to go, but at least his life total will be higher. I think he'd probably just take the hit, but it does put him at a low enough total that, a lot of things could kill him.
Lightning Bolt, Fork Bolt, Fire Ice. There's definitely some things that can kill him.
And even the Bolt could dodge the top, because if Michael Hetrick can get Benjamin, or if Benjamin can get Michael to use the top, such as, like casting Brainstorm or something, he could bolt him in response. Now, he doesn't have the bolt yet, but there's a plan here. And this attack phase, it's not just that he's trading the Goyf for an angel and 3 damage, it's that Hetrick won't be able to counterattack because he's facing lethal from that Delver.
And he does just double bot the Goyf immediately, so he's going to go down to 2. And one of the cards, actually, Benjamin's hand, he did draw Brainstorm for the turn, so his hand is Brainstorm, Spell Snare, and Spell Pierce.
So I think Hetrick is getting ever closer to locking it up. Is that a Terminus?
Was a Terminus there, yes.
Not super irrelevant, just because the angel, but the Terminus would be helpful if Benjamin commits a second creature, primarily a Tarmogoyf, the 1-drops here.
And we're going to see a Brainstorm, and we're going to see a 1 get flipped over since his Divining Top.
That's what Benjamin was not hoping to see.
Benjamin just passes back. We'll see Hetrick spin things again. Probably move that top down so he doesn't draw it. Wants to have as many 1s floating as he can. Spinning again. And at this point, just looking for any way to get that Insectile Aberration out of the way so he can finish the game off.
Yep. Hetrick's got tons of good stuff from this position. The Dalkin Shackles, Swords to Plowshares, Oblivion Ring, another Entreat the Angels, Vendilion Click, Chase the Mind Sculptor.
as we see another Tarmogoyf here from Benjamin.
So this is going to draw out the Terminus.
It's going to draw out the Terminus, yes, but the interesting thing is, did Hetrick put the Terminus into his hand, or did he leave it floating?
Left it floating.
Okay. Because if he put it in his hand, he's going to have to pay the 6 for it, of course. And we are going to see Terminus.
Benjamin putting his 2 creatures on the bottom of his deck. Unfortunately, now without any threats, but Hetrick very clearly doesn't have 2s locked up yet, and Benjamin could threaten to create a stack where a lightning bolt ends on Hetrick's face.
So he does draw Delver of Secrets for the turn. But again, we do know that Hetrick is floating a Sensei's Divining Top through those top 3 cards.
Yep.
So we will see another top activation. Again, Michael Hetrick in pretty good shape for being at 2 life, just looking for a way to end the game.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, Benjamin's best draw is Fire. But beyond Fire, Tarmogoyf is still a live draw. And possibly Naturalize.
Yeah.
Or, in a crazy world, I mean, no, I guess mostly just those, but...
Yeah, I don't really think there's much. His draws are very, very slim at this point.
Mm-hmm.
See, Hetrick sacrificed Fluted Delta. He's going to move down to 1 life.
Every point of life mattering in this game.
Indeed. The scary thing here for Hetrick, too, is that he can never reset now with his... As we see a Misty Rainforest for Benjamin, he can never reset his Sensei's Divining Top. He's at 1 life, fetch lands are off now.
Yep,
So
Short of Swords to Plowshares. But, you know, it would take a weird situation to have to plow your own guy.
Yep.
Your Snapcaster or your Vendilion Click.
And we're going to see, there's the Swords.
There is the Swords. So he does have life gain available to him if he can make enough, enough things line up, enough dominoes line up.
And so he resets his top at the end step, so he doesn't draw the Sensei's Divining Top.
Well, and he has to do it anyway, just so that Benjamin doesn't know.
Sure. And Benjamin draws a Daze.
Probably ship the turn. Hetrick continuing with the Eric Lauer experience, just manipulating his library. Taking his sweet time doing it. Benjamin draws. Continuing to look for 2 drops.
Just saying go, that hopeless feeling of being in the counterbalance Sensei's Divining Top lock. So another Sensei's Divining Top hits play.
Mm-hmm.
I've been underneath this before. It is not a delight. So we're going to see a Spell Pierce here.
Shows the plow on top.
He's going to show the plow on top, so I'm not paying any more for that Sensei's Divining Top. Thank you.
Benjamin untaps and draws. Another
Daze. It's hard to feel so comfortable when you're at 1 life. Just have complete control using your life as a resource.
Not enough sudden shocks these days.
Yeah. So see another counterbalance here, and might draw out a Spell Snare. Oh, nope, just happy to resolve.
Yeah, because it's not really going to draw out a Spell Snare. And Benjamin probably shipping the turn again. Doesn't even bother to play his fetch land because Hetrick knows that he doesn't have a 7th land in his deck.
Yeah.
Time's on my side. Yes, it is.
I'm drawing to 1 Entreat the Angels, an additional Vendilion Click,
2 Snapcaster Mages,
and presumably
3 Jace the
3
Mind
Jace,
Sculptors.
or at least some number of Jace. I could see him maybe sideboarding one out, but
Take another look. Pass the turn to you. Benjamin draws. Continuing to look for spells that cost 2. Plays the gratuitous fetch land rather than discarding, because, you know, you might shuffle at some point. Just for kicks. They sure don't make cards like Sensei's Divine Top anymore.
no, thank God.
Nor do they make cards like Bridge from Below anymore.
Well, that sucks, because I like the winning with that.
Couple of great cards right there.
We're going to see a
Discard.
discarding days.
Sensei's Divine Top again.
And again, at least he's fast at his top, so I'll give him that. Put a Delta, put into play, says go, even though he can't use them.
Better than discarding.
That's true.
And he could use it potentially eventually. Right? Like he's already shown he has a plow. Hetrick definitely playing a very brisk pace.
He plays his counterbalance deck quickly. He understands what he's doing. He knows all the interactions. He knows what he's looking for. Just where is the card to win the game? Is what he is thinking right now.
It's tough too, because if he doesn't have a 2 yet, he could be facing death at any point.
As he discards Naturalize.
Wow, that had to be a mistake. He doesn't even know that there's a 2. Naturalize is one of the best cards he could have. He's got so many cards worse than Naturalize. It can be very soul draining to be in this position, so I can understand the accidentally hasty, like forgetting that you're not actually locked on 2s yet.
Yeah.
I mean, once you discard Naturalize, what are you even doing? What can you draw? I mean, don't get me wrong, obviously 2 counterbalances makes Naturalize much worse, but... Six land that he can actually tap, plus 3 fetch lands. Multiple counterbalances, multiple tops. Michael Hetrick continuing to spend a lot of resources to slightly min-max. Rightfully so. Benjamin, Brueseke,
Are we gonna play the decking game or counting decks?
looking for fire.
Is there any way that it's possible that Hetrick doesn't have any win conditions left, and he's maybe potentially hoping that, you know, Ben, you're locked, like will you just concede out of misery, and he just won't do it? Is there any way that's a thing at this point?
It's more possible than time travel being invented in our lifetime,
Okay.
but less possible than Ralph Nader becoming president of the United States.
So you're saying there's a chance Jace the Mind Sculptor, a hit track off of The Gathering by Patrick Chapin, is on the stack? Is he resolving?
And Bill Bowden, keep in mind, Bowden, the brains behind the Gathering, aka Spruik. Jace the Mind Sculptor. Takes a look at Benjamin, and I think from that position you gotta just snap keep. Benjamin
Sack it away.
sacks it away. This is where you look, see that it was fire.
Yeah. No! Alright, Benjamin puts himself down to 8. Jace going to work.
Now, I will
Finally.
say the fact that Jace is hitting Benjamin's library does not bode well for him.
Yeah. Brainstorm, Hetrick quickly reveals Spell Pierce. See a top activation here so he can keep floating a 1 and a 2. Just draw. Puts the island into play. Fates heal you. Let me see. Oh, keep it.
Going through the motions.
And he draws. He taps the mana.
Part of me ponders if possibly did R&D see a problem with this walker properly. Or at least evaluate it properly.
Take another look, Jace. Up to 9.
Benjamin paying another life to shuffle his deck. He's pretty much got to draw fire this turn, and somehow have Hetrick not have a 2 anywhere. It's not particularly reasonable.
Wasteland. Ah, I thought that was the fire too, the way you drew that card. He got me good.
Yep.
He really did.
Yeah.
So we see a top activation.
Yep. 2 more turns.
Up to 11. Hetrick says you can have that. Looks at his hand of 7 cards. Actually 8 cards at this point.
There's a lot of lessons about game design that one can learn from seeing how this game plays out
Is there a problem?
in this format.
I'm enjoying myself. Is there a problem?
No. Just saying, there's a lot of lessons that one can learn.
So you see a Jace moving up to 13. Hetrick says...
Did he just put it on the bottom?
He did put it on the bottom. I don't think so.
What could he put on the bottom besides fire?
I don't know.
Because he's not going to just put a card that doesn't kill him on the bottom.
How strange, because he looked at the card that was on the bottom. When he moved it to the bottom, he just looked at it.
That is illegal.
Yeah, you can't do that. And the first thing that we need right now is certainly a judge call. I mean, I believe that was purely accidental.
Yep. Alright, that's the
That's
match. Out of curiosity, can somebody check what was the bottom card?
I think it looks like a
It
wasteland.
was a wasteland.
Oh, there's the fire and ice.
Fire
Okay.
Ice is 1 card away.
Yep.
Not that it matters. I mean, Hetrick surely had the game locked up.
Yeah, I'm sure he had at least a 1 or... I'm sure he had a 2 or a counterspell in his hand. So Michael Hetrick, Star City Games Legacy Open Champion.
You called it. Miracles. Raka Miracles.
Rock of Miracles.
Which brings us